Hello everyone, thanks for pressing play. In this episode of ExcaliburCCGTV, we're taking a look at the new comics hitting the shelves May 29th, 2013. Stay tuned. Hello again, I'm Chris, he's Randy. Thanks for pressing play. We really appreciate it. And while you're here, go ahead and take a moment to press the subscribe button down below. And if you're an active person, you're on the go, you don't have time to sit down and actually watch the video, the MP3 of this episode will be in the description below, so you can download the MP3 and listen to it on the go and know what's going on here at the comic shop. Thanks for pressing play. We are at 1,700 views. It's awesome. And we're about to break a milestone on subscribers too, so help us break that milestone. And if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Two things we want to hit first. We have a huge weekend coming up this weekend because this Saturday, June 1st, is our
Sidewalk sale.
Sidewalk sale. Everything on the sidewalk in front of the store is going to be
25 cents.
25 cents. And there's tons of stuff that's going to be out there. Everything from comic books to other odds and ends to other merchandise that will be out there. You can walk out of here. Well, you can come to the sidewalk, grab a stack, pay for it, and walk out of here with a huge stack of comic books and have plenty of stuff to read for the days to come. So don't forget about that. That's this Saturday, June 1st, all day long.
One day only.
One day only. And it's also a lot of fun. Hopefully weather won't be too bad, but if it is, bring some sunscreen and work on your tan. Other thing real quick is that this week, the August Diamond Preview magazine hits the shelves, and be on the lookout for our top comics for August to check out. Video that we're going to do next week. Grab the Diamond Previews, thumb through it, get your pre-orders in, and get yourself hooked up with some great comics that are coming in August, because it looks like it's going to be a pretty big and exciting month. So with that out of the way, we're talking about comics this week.
Give us the date, like always.
It's going to be May 29th, 2013.
Tomorrow.
This year is flying by, man. It's crazy.
It is, but that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing at all. I'm excited. There's a ton of stuff hitting this week. There's a ton of new number ones, ton of annuals. But I'm excited for one thing in particular. I'm going to go ahead and start off with that.
Go ahead. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I'm talking about The Wake, number one. Scott Snyder, Sean Murphy. We covered this in our previous solicitation videos. Scott Snyder's the writer for Batman. He's doing the new Superman Unchained that's coming out here shortly. Digging his work. He's going to Vertigo with this. He and Sean Murphy, with their own creator-owned series, The Wake, which follows a marine biologist that's tasked by the Department of Homeland Security to come check out an underwater oil rig. And what she finds down there has like huge ramifications, not for just like present day, but like stuff like maybe even where we come from. So that's hitting the shelves this week. Scott Snyder's killing it writing wise for me. I'm really digging what he's doing on Batman. I'm looking forward to Superman Unchained. And Sean Murphy's a great artist. It's hard to go wrong with him. I haven't collected much of his stuff, but I've seen it and it looks great as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm on board with that one as well. You and I have kind of a different philosophy with new books coming out. You tend to go and it seems like you do tons of research on what the story is. For me, I look and see who the creators are. Am I interested in it? Oftentimes I'll look at the preview art or the cover, and I really don't want to know a whole lot about the story.
Right.
Because I want to be surprised as I'm reading it. So I too am real excited about this. I don't, while you're telling them this information, it's about as much information as that you're giving me that information as well. I thumb through the previews. I pick out what I'm going to get, but for me, it's just seeing Scott Snyder's writing it, Sean Murphy's drawing it. Okay, it's Vertigo Comics. I'm on board for this. So yeah. I try to stay away from those things, but it's interesting how we both look forward to the same book but have a different approach to it as it approaches.
Right. And I'm really hoping with this, I mean, that's really all that I can know at this point. I don't want to spoil it for me. I want to read it and find out, but I'm really hoping that with this new Vertigo book that we can start seeing, because Jeff Lemire's doing a Vertigo book coming up as well called Trillium. I'm wanting to see Vertigo kind of come back.
I am. I'm a little sad. These and this will be good for some of you who don't want to get involved in the ongoing book. These are both going to be mini-series here.
Right.
Or maxi-series, however you want to say it there. So they're limited series. I'm a little disappointed by that, because that's one of the great things with Vertigo is they've had some history of long-standing books that have gone on for quite some time here. And I'm hoping that these two books are going to be kind of the reemergence of the Vertigo property.
Yes, that'd be totally awesome for me. But moving on, what are you looking forward to?
My big one, and I've gotten a chance to get a little sneak peek at it, is X-Men #1. I am a huge Brian Wood fan, and this guy right here. And let me tell you, this book, it's an X-Men book that focuses on the female X-Men characters, and from the word go, it is just action-packed, fast-paced. It looks like there's a lot of reading, but you fly through it. That's the great thing about Brian Wood's writing, is that it's captivating. It hooks you immediately, and you don't even realize that you've just sat down and read as much as you did.
Yeah.
It looks like Jubilee is going to be one of the focal points with his book. Not too surprising, because he did a little stint on the X-Men title a year or two ago, and she was one of the focal points then. So obviously a character that he likes and is using here. The other big thing is that we're going to see a villain emerge that was from Grant Morrison's new X-Men run.
Really?
Yeah. So,
okay.
That will excite a lot of people who love that classic run there. And you can tell everybody the artist is one of the best artists in the industry that's gracing the pages there. The Coipel.
Olivier Coipel.
That's right.
Fantastic. He did the Siege, if I'm not mistaken. He's done several.
He's done several of them.
He's been
Thor, Avengers, everything. Love his artwork, and it really fits the dynamic storytelling that he adds to Brian Wood's stellar writing style here. Can't recommend this one enough, guys.
Yeah. Be sure and check that out. Coming up for me, we also have a new issue of New Avengers. Number 6 hits the shelves this week. Black Swan is awesome.
She is.
Or the Black Swans, I should say, are a really cool concept.
Right.
And
not surprising.
You get, with what Hickman is doing with the series, for me, you're getting so much. You're getting so much from the story, but you're getting so much from the story, but you're like, man, where is this going next? Just how big is this going to be? That's what I'm thinking whenever I'm reading this, and we're seeing with this last issue, and we saw more information about the Black Swans and how they're tying into all this. It's really cool to me. It's very I'm not going to say intellectual. I don't want to alienate anybody by that, but it is smart. It's just smart, and it's epic as well, and it's really big.
It's smart without making you feel dumb.
Exactly. It's entertaining, it's smart, it's epic, and I'm really looking forward to what else is coming on with this whole, oh God, I can't believe I was going to say it, but I was going to say Crisis of Infinite Earths. Oh no.
Infinity.
We're leading up to it, so it's we're leading up to this with Infinity. This plays a part in that. So this prelude stuff right here is really interesting to me.
The crazy thing that I've seen being shopped around, I guess, with this issue is we're going to see some factions starting to form within the group, and this is a group that I thought seemed pretty cohesive here with like minds, and so it's going to be interesting to see. Is it the Black Swan that's kind of causing this to happen here, or what's going on with all these? These are some of the smartest guys in the Marvel universe.
Right.
Here. How can they be so stupid as to be careless enough to do something like that, and with the stakes as high as they are?
Right.
So
yeah,
that's one of those crazy things there that I'm interested to see who's taking whose side, who's doing what. What's it going to mean leading into Infinity?
Yeah, totally. What else for you, bro?
For me, We have Thief of Thieves is coming out with issue 14. This book is easily one of Image's best titles that they're putting out week in, week out. People want to say, oh, it's kind of a Ocean's 11 or what was the classic? I'm forgetting the movie.
Ocean's 11 is good enough.
Well, yeah,
heist movie.
Yeah, kind of the heist movie. I was thinking with the one with stealing the painting there. The Pierce Brosnan redid it.
Oh, yeah.
Thomas Crown Affair.
Thomas Crown
yeah,
Affair.
People thinking it's just something like that. Thank you, comic book god. People who think it's something like that, they're mistaken here. It's a really intelligent book as well, where they've crafted this thief who doesn't necessarily like being a thief, but he's just so dang good at it that he can't help but be a part of this world here. And one of the best things they've done is bring in his son, who it shows that being a great thief is not necessarily in the genes there. His son is a total screw up as far as that goes. And it's made for great interaction between those characters.
Right.
And we're right now on our third writer on the series.
Okay.
So it's been great with they have a rotating cast of writers for each story arc, and so it's interesting getting to see other people's take on something. I think it remains fresh when you have other people coming in with their concepts.
Right.
So that's one of my big ones right there. They'll be sitting on the top of my stack.
Cool. An issue that's going to be on top of my stack this week is Clone number 7 from Image Comics. This is a consistently good read for me. I mean, I'm totally digging it. Jose Juan Reap on the art. Like I mentioned before, I'm an art guy, but the story by David Schulner, it's very good. Totally digging it. This whole concept of clones and the repercussions and the research that has been done. I mean, it's a far-spanning political intrigue, espionage type adventure series that's going on. Covers, I mean, it goes all the way from the seats in the White House to a deserted base camp in the Nevada or something like that. I mean, it's just with ramifications that could affect billions with what's going on with the storyline itself. And it's easy to read. It's entertaining to read. It's a pretty quick paced read as well. The past couple issues have been, but it hasn't left me empty. I mean, it's been an engaging story for me. So I'm definitely looking forward to Clone number 7 hitting the shelves this week.
And I believe the first volume is coming out there with the first collected volume.
It's about that time, yeah.
So you'll be able to catch this and start catching up on it if you missed out on this. And this is a book that you need to read there. You're looking for something to add to your list. Highly recommend adding Clone. Just, as you said, wonderful art, wonderful writing on the book. Quietly one of Image's better titles that everybody can shout out Manhattan Projects and Walking Dead and whatnot, and we do enough of that. We're guilty of that, but Clone is right there where consistently it is good, and it's in its second story arc right now. And it's just as good as the first story arc was, if not better, because it's now branching out on its concept. And so I like to see that this writer has thought through enough to give us a strong enough story there to sustain for as long as it is, and for as long as I can see it possibly going there.
Yeah, so as long as it's this good, I'm supporting it. I'm totally all for it.
Most definitely.
What's next for you, bro?
I have to give a little shout out here to a Marvel title that is really gaining a lot of popularity each week here, and people come in, they're looking for something new. We have copies of it. They pick it up and they come back and say, man, this is great. Man, when's the next issue come out? And I'm talking about Morbius, the Living Vampire. Number 5 comes out this week. This has been something that to me is neat, because not only do they have a great character like Morbius here, who struggles constantly with the vampire side of himself and the man side of himself, but they've also introduced another classic Spider-Man villain
Really?
into the book here.
Okay.
And this is one of those that I'm not talking about one of the big guns there like the Green Goblin or Dr. Octopus or Shocker or something. This is a smaller character, mobster character, but it's still a really awesome character to see getting some attention in the books.
Okay.
So Morbius is just one of those that's picking up steam here, and you have to support these awesome books like this. Otherwise, they go the way of the dodo, and it's unfortunate because they are so stellar with their writing.
Exactly.
Apparently, stellar is going to be my word of the night here. That will probably be the last time I use that. I'm hoping.
That's awesome. And Randy's right. I mean, if you really like a book, you've got to tell people about it. You've got to share it. You've got to share it. You got to tell people. You got to spread the word about it, or else once the numbers hit below a certain point at the larger companies, if the units aren't selling, it gets canceled. And then
they're unforgiving about that.
They really are. So I mean, it happens all the time.
Unless you're Peter David or someone like that who has such a Gail Simone has such a huge fan base that they can kind of rally around. But yeah, tell me what else you've got.
Well, let's see what else. Indestructible Hulk is coming out for me. I'm still digging it. I'm digging what Mark Waid is doing. We got Walter Simonson on art for this story arc. And I love. It's been fun in Asgard, and even with the repercussions that are going on back on Earth, they've taken off on a journey with some magical metal from Asgard to find some other type of magical element to see. Banner's got an idea of what it can be used for, and they're trying to find that in Asgard. But the funny thing is along the way of getting to Asgard, they actually went back in time. So we got a little bit of a time travel story where Banner and the Hulk are meeting Thor before Banner and Hulk have ever met the Thor before.
Right.
Thor before, so Thor doesn't know. He doesn't know who he is, and he's amused by him. So it's kind of funny. But nice, action-packed artwork by Walter Simonson, and I'm looking forward to what Mark Waid's doing with the story. He's obviously building towards something here, and I want to see what the payoff is with them. Hopefully, finally finding this magical element that he wants to experiment with and what it can do.
Speaking of Thor and Asgard, Thor God of Thunder hardcover is coming out here. So
yes,
I have people coming up to me almost on a daily basis saying, "Hey, do you have issue 2, issue 4, issue 5? All these issues of the Thor series because they've heard it's great." Hopefully they're hearing from us because we've been telling them for how long now that it's great.
Yes.
And it's tough. It's tough to find right now because it's that popular. Well, now you've got the first collection here. So it's something that this if you're one of those that's a stickler for the individual issues, you're going to be on that manhunt for a while. You're probably going to pay a pretty penny on eBay. You can take and spend that money and get the hardcover right now that you can have the story in your hands and you can read this and you can get caught up on it. You need to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Jason Aaron, Assad Ribic, talking about Gore the God Butcher. This has been fantastic. It's been fantastic.
And what does Skip say? Jar Jar, whatever's Thor's axe is. That's suddenly becoming a really cool item in the Marvel universe as well there.
Yeah.
Jarborn or whatever the name of it is.
Yeah.
It's a Norse name and it's a cool name and it's a cool axe. It's a very cool axe.
Back to what you said, if you're looking for the individual issues and you find them, more than likely, especially the early issues, you're going to pay a higher price here and even on eBay.
Right.
But with this hardcover collection, you can get a beautiful hardcover plus extras that they always include with these hardcovers.
That's right.
And that you won't get in the individual issues or on eBay, and you can get that here in this one package. So definitely check it out. It's worth your time to check out. Hey, we got a lot of. There's one thing I wanted, because you're more of a DC guy than I am.
Sure.
There are a lot of DC annuals hitting this week, and I wanted kind of us to talk about that. I know a little bit about some of them, but I think that you're more of an aficionado than I am. So
right, we've got Batman: The Dark Knight Annual #1. This is going to have him facing off with the Scarecrow and a couple of others there. We've got Catwoman Annual #1. We've also that's the beginning of a new story arc. It's the Cat and the Bird. we'll see who the bird is. We've got Earth 2 Annual number 1, the big one with the introduction of the new Earth 2 Batman.
Yes.
We've got the Red Hood and the Outlaws Annual number 1.
Yes.
And on top of that, we've also got Smallville has it. They're not calling it an annual, but it's a season special.
Right.
That's Smallville or season 11 special, and we have Adventure Time, not DC, but yet another annual. Oh my goodness, they're probably all over your screen right now. I can't see anything. Where are you, Chris? Hello, Chris, you there? Hopefully they're there.
Hopefully they're there.
Otherwise, that bit stinks. But yeah, we've just got tons of annuals, and that's the thing is we have 5 weeks in May here, and DC is pretty adamant about keeping their their titles on a 4-month schedule.
Right.
So they have this 5th week. What are they going to do? They're going to give you tons of annuals here instead of having nothing coming out from them.
Yeah.
Although they do have one title that's running a little bit behind, but it's coming out this week. That would be Justice League of America.
Justice League, yeah. I mean, number 4 hits the shelves. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so that Justice League number 4 is hitting the shelf. Justice League of America number 4 is hitting the shelves. They got Jeff Johns, David Finch on board, following the team and what's going on with them. I got to be honest with you. I'm waiting for something to happen here.
Well, the thing that's going to happen here is called the Trinity War.
Trinity War.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully the payoff with Trinity War will be worth it. And another piece of news that I'm really excited about, last week we had the conclusion of Jeff Johns' era on Green Lantern with the Green Lantern number 20 that hit the shelves. But we get David Finch for this issue of Justice League of America, and then I believe Brett Booth comes on for art for issues 5 and 6, and I believe from 7 on, Doug Monkey's coming over to be the regular artist on Justice League of America, and I'm really looking forward to that.
I had not heard that news. I was wondering where he was going to land.
Yes.
I knew that DC was going to put him on one of their big titles there just because his art is beautiful.
Yes.
So the lucky book is Justice League of America. That's awesome.
Yeah, and Johns and Monkey have been a creative team for a decade now. I mean, they've worked together for a long time now, and I'm looking forward. I've always been a fan of Doug Monkey's art. I just haven't been too much of a fan of the series that he's worked on. I mean, that's just my personal preference, but I'm hoping they'll bring some of that magic of working together over to Justice League of America and make it stellar.
Right.
I borrowed that word from him.
Stellar.
So definitely check out Justice League of America. The series has been good so far. I'm not wanting to discount that. But along with titles in the Marvel Universe, titles here in the DC Universe are like prelude. They're leading up to these big events that are coming up in July and August and from that point forward. So I mean, sometimes you'll see a little bit of what I would call a little bit of a lull for me personally, but it doesn't discount what's going on.
Well, I think what they're doing right now is they're just familiarizing people with the team.
Sure.
Allowing them to get to know who these players are that are going to be working together, and kind of also giving the characters within the book a chance to work together there, so that you're not just thrusting them into the situation and they're working like a well-oiled machine or something.
Right.
So I think that's probably one of their ideas. I also want to make a quick mention here. We have Star Trek number 21 comes out, and that is going to be the beginning of a story arc that spins right out of the movie. It's just come out. So there are going to be a lot of people that have gone to see the movie now 2 weeks in a row. I think it's grossed somewhere around 150 million total in that time, and this is going to be one of those things that some people probably don't even realize that they're doing this follow-up, but it's in their ongoing series, and they're making this direct tie-in. Well, the movie is Into Darkness, and this is called Out of Darkness. So, that's one of those I think is well worth pointing out there, and the Star Trek that they've been doing has been. All the characters in the book are drawn look like the new crew characters. They don't look kind of like your classic James Kirk and everything. So people will be familiar
Right.
with it. It'll look like what they've seen on the screen there, and you know, you're going to have a cooler looking Uhura, not the bun hair, whatever there.
The beehive.
You know, Zoe Saldana, she's awesome. So yeah, people, come on and get the book there. You'll want to pick that one up to just, you know, see what they thought should keep happening after the events from the movie.
Exactly. Another one that's coming out this week that was very controversial, delayed, and then has finally made it to the shelves with a little bit of an overhaul, is Adventures of Superman #1.
Oh yes.
But that's hitting the shelves this week. Help me out with this, because I think it was a web series first, and now they're collecting it into print.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I've never seen any of their series on the web there, so
Right.
I don't know if that was one of their quick overhauls where they had to do that before they put it online, or what the deal is. But yeah, what we're getting is not the original Orson Scott Card and Chris Sprouse issue, and it was only going to be one issue with them, and then the others are subsequent writers and artists on it.
Right.
So,
This one's Jeff Parker and Chris Samney, if I'm not mistaken.
Chris Samney, one of the best artists in the industry, absolutely killing it on Daredevil right now. And Jeff Parker is going to, he's doing their online first Batman 66. And so he'll, you know, you'll at least be familiar with some of his writing if you pick this up to, you know, with him. I think that's probably going to be his introduction to the DC universe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So a very talented writer there as well.
Yep.
I should point out, we have lots of our #1s coming out here that we talked about in our May solicitations video.
Exactly.
One of them that's big on the charts for me is there's the King Conan, let me get this right, Hour of the Dragon, #1. Now this is a 6-issue miniseries, but it's the first part to, and there will be another 6-issue miniseries following it. But this is Timothy Truman that's writing it. He wrote some of the other series for it before Brian Wood got his, you know, Midas touch golden hands on the book and made it as awesome as it is. It was great then as well, with Timothy Truman doing the writing. And so this is one of those that's taking a look at an older Conan who's, you know, the king at this point in time. That's big on my list. As well as we have, you know, horror fans waiting for some horror comics to come out. Well, you've got one of the kings of horror with Clive Barker giving us, originally it was New Genesis. Censor, can't say New Genesis. DC doesn't want to hear that.
Is that why it got changed?
That's why it is now called Next Testament.
Because I saw that earlier, and I was like, wait, we called this New Genesis back in May.
DC, put the kibosh on that. Said no, thank you. So that's coming out, and we also have one of the other kings of horror here with John Carpenter bringing out Asylum, and this one is going to be Bruce Jones writing it. Amazing writer here. If you have not read his run on Incredible Hulk, man, that was a sweet run there. And you've got Leonardo Manco, however you want to say that, on the art chores here. And like I said, like I've said before, he did the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. He was the artist on those. So, you know, it's beautiful, kind of realistic style, but it also is real dark and edgy. I think of that Lee Brahima kind of when I think of his art style there, except it's not painted. So those are two big ones coming out that are #1s. And I also mentioned the other #1 there. What else do you have for us?
Well, there was a couple more other ones we did mention in our May solicitation video. Grim Fairy Tales. We got Grim Fairy Tales Presents Wonderland Down the Rabbit Hole #1 hits this week, and there'll be subsequent Grim Fairy Tales #1s hitting throughout the next couple of weeks that we mentioned in the May solicitations video. So that if you're a fan of Grim Fairy Tales and what they've been doing with retelling some of these classic stories in different lights and different contexts, then you'll want to check that out. But I did want to go back a little bit to what you were talking
Sure.
about with Clive Barker's Next Testament. We mentioned that before, but just a little information about that. It's a guy who goes on a walkabout to find God. He meets a person saying that he is God, and they have a disagreement of what's going on there.
Right.
Yeah, and then the other one we have with John Carpenter's Asylum. It's another supernatural slant too, where one of God's greatest warriors he spent so much time fighting for him and talking to demons, but he hasn't heard from God. And there's this fight. He's just torn.
Turmoil.
They're in a turmoil. Thank you. With what's going on with there. So I mean, you're not going to go wrong if you're wanting horror supernatural type stuff from Clive Barker or John Carpenter. I mean,
Right.
so be sure and take a look at those on the shelves this week. Man, for number ones, I mean, there's a ton of them, but I think that pretty much wraps it up for me with
Right.
number ones.
I've got one other title. It's not number one, but it's one that needs some mentioning. It doesn't need too much help selling, but it's one of those that people come in and they're not getting it because it's so hot. I would pick up the issue and show you, but I left my oven mitts at home, and this is so hot that yeah, Injustice: Gods Among Us #5 is coming out.
That is selling,
and
man.
it's selling like crazy, and people love the story, love the game, and this is like taking, what do you call the segments there in the game where they're telling the story. I'm not a big enough gamer to know that. But it's kind of taking that and branching out to this world of this kind of badass Superman, and who's not gonna deal with it anymore there, and it's showing us a little more of that world. So it's one of those titles that I think people are wanting it, but they're not doing what we have been kind of preaching to them to do.
like pre-ordering.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, and adding it to your pull list.
Yeah,
those kind of things.
Yeah, those kind of things there. I sound like a broken record when I say it, so I was going to let someone else say it. Yeah, but that's one of those titles that's coming out that I thought should be mentioned here. Not because it needs help selling, but because if you want to get it, you got to do what he just said.
Exactly. Man, for me, that pretty much wraps it up. Anything else that you want to hit on before we get out of here?
I'm pretty good with it.
Cool. Well, guys, thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. We've hit 1,700 views of our videos, and that is thanks to you. We really, really appreciate it. And you. And you. Yeah. No, not the little guy in the back. And recap real quick, though. This Saturday, June 1st, 2013, our Sidewalk sale. Tons of stuff available for a wada. So you can walk out of here with a huge stack of stuff for only a couple of bucks. And also, the new Diamond previews for August comes out. So be sure and check that out and be on the lookout for our Diamond previews August solicitations video. We'll be going over the top 10 comics for August that you should be checking out. We just did one a couple of weeks ago. I'll try to link to all of that below, our May solicitations and the July solicitations video that we just did. But be sure and check all that out. Subscribe, share, and like if you like this video. He's Randy, I'm Chris. We are Excalibur Comics, Cards, and Games here in Shreveport, Louisiana. You can visit our site, www.ExcaliburCCG.com. And that's it for this week. Anything else to add, Randy?
Nope.
Hey, it's heating up around here, so stay cool if it's hot where you are. And everyone take care. We'll see you next time.
See ya.